I have been excited about and looking forward to the 400 Mini since the moment it was announced a few weeks ago. If you're not familiar, it's effectively a half-sized Atari 400 8-bit home computer. And in this little mini guy is baked in 25 classic 8-bit Atari computer games, plus the ability to add your own games to explore the entirety of that old mid-80s Atari library. But announced right alongside the 400 Mini and hidden somewhat in its shadow is the THECXSTICK. Now I'm excited about the promise of this thing, and I expected to see an avalanche of videos in my feed celebrating the potential. But it's just been crickets. What do you say we fix that right now? Hey there, welcome back to GenXGrownUp. I'm John and I am a GenXGrownUp. Thanks for taking the time to click over here. So, the THECXSTICK from Retro Games PLAION. THECXSTICK, kind of a weird name, doesn't really roll off the tongue, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. It is a full-sized replica of the original CX40 Atari Joystick, and it's designed to plug in via USB and control the games you play on the 400 Mini. Plus it has some expanded compatibility. In fact, let's go to the website and look at the rundown. First, the more obvious things, generous cable length. They say it's 1.8 meters, which is 6 foot for those of us in the world that still haven't converted to metric. Says it has a rubber stick, so that boot is over top of the shaft of the stick. It ought to feel like it should. It's rubberized, it's not just plastic, so I mean, you ought to do that. You're gonna do that. Left and right-handed operation. Now, that's good news for lefties who maybe played their old Atari 2600 or computers back in the day and felt left out because the joystick couldn't rotate. You can take it apart and modify it. Looks like this one has a button to do that. That's pretty cool. But then, these 3 bullet points, these 3 highlights are the things that got me the most excited. Unique button ring for game functions. So around the circle of the joystick, some buttons baked in there. Discrete buttons on the back and corner of the joystick, which if you read between the lines, this adds up to 8 buttons on a CX40 style joystick. And finally, the bottom right here, it says compatibility. Yeah, it works with the 400 Mini, works with the C64 Mini and the A500 Mini, the Amiga thing, but it's also a standard USB stick that works with PC, Mac, and Linux, and probably who knows what else. So just in case running through those bullet points doesn't already make it obvious what's got me so excited, let me run it down for you. First of all, this modernizes the function of the CX40 without compromising its design. It's the same stick we're used to, with extra functions kind of like hidden in unexpected places. Now, if you're buying it for the 400 Mini, that's gonna be awesome to play your 8-bit Atari computer games with the familiar joystick, but with added buttons to kind of compensate for the lack of a built-in keyboard. Now, you can add a keyboard via USB if you want, but they don't want to require you to do that. So these extra buttons, I'm sure, are going to be mapped to emulation functions like go in the menu or save states or rewind or things like that. For everything else, though, that expanded compatibility, like PC, Mac, Linux, and by the associative property, most likely like Raspberry Pi and who knows what else, this is poised to be the de facto controller for classic 80s emulation. For anybody that learned to game with this beauty rather than a gamepad, having this familiar shape in your hand while also having relatively easy access to a further 7 buttons that can be mapped to whatever you want in your emulation software, forget about it. Now, I don't have one in my hands yet. Retro Games PLAION, are you out there? I'm dying to get one of these. I would like to run a little physical experiment though to see what it might be like to use the THECXSTICK once released. Here's an example of the classic CX40. This is actually a CX40 Plus. This is the one that came out along with the 2600 Plus. I grabbed it because it was handy and because it's frankly the nicest looking CX40 style stick I own. And look, we all know the giant red button. It's iconic. And adding buttons to this, adding 8 buttons to this, never in a million years would I have imagined the places, maybe in the back, maybe, I don't know, what the classic controller on the VCS did some interesting things with a shoulder button and made this a spinner. But taking the classic one and the way they've reimagined it, and I'm a visual learner, I can't imagine, is that going to be in the way? What's it going to be like? So let's see if we can pretend where those buttons will be and see what it might be like. So I have now mocked up this CX40 Plus to simulate every button that will be on the THECXSTICK that comes with the 400 Mini. So I put a piece of painter's tape everywhere there's a button. So obviously we have this, the big red button, that's one. Every one of these cardinal directions is somehow a button that you can press. So my first thought is that going to get in the way? And I guess not. My thumb arches over this one and my hand, at no point am I touching that ring normally. So I don't see a conflict there. That's, who'd have ever thought to put buttons right there? You hide them. It doesn't change the design and it gives them more function. That's cool. Okay, then around the back, we have these. So you have probably some kind of a menu and select button here. So these are in the back. So if you reach around, they're going to be kind of back there. And then you have what effectively is a shoulder button, but it's down below the lower left of the stick. So again, am I going to hit that? That might be the most prone to accidental pressing of any button they've added. I can't see these back here being a problem. I can't see these being a problem. I guess depending on how you hold it, you could trigger that accidentally. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's depending on how rigid the button is. But still, so here we have, was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's our 8 buttons plus the 4-way directional. That's all the input that you're going to get from this single USB connection with the CX stick. I just think that's damn cool. Unless Retro Games and PLAION just totally whiff it and don't deliver with a quality build, not something I expect to happen, by the way, based on their track record, this could be the next big must-have peripheral for retro gaming enthusiasts. Look, even if you don't care about the 400 Mini or the Atari 8-bit library, which by the way, you should, because it's pretty awesome, just as a companion to your existing method of classic game emulation, the CX stick looks to be a home run waiting to happen. Had you considered the potential of the CX stick, or am I alone? Do you agree with my assessment, or maybe you thought of use cases beyond what I've even talked about here? Please holler at me down in the comments. And in the meantime, links to more of my ongoing coverage of the 400 Mini over my shoulders here. And here, I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video, and I can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.